Hey, everybody, and welcome back to Voices of the Soul for another deep dive. You know, we usually cover like research papers and news stories and that kind of thing, but this time we're going in a totally different direction.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so get this. Our source material this time is just one single Reddit thread.
Interesting.
Yeah, and the thread is about this guy. He's in his 40s, and he's never dated before in his entire life, and he's kind of at a loss as to like where to even start, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. That could be really tough, I imagine, especially posting that publicly on Reddit.
Right, exactly. And that's kind of what makes this thread so interesting. It's on the subreddit, Our Guy Cry,
Hmm.
which the name itself kind of gives you a sense of the vibe.
For sure, for sure.
So he's pouring his heart out. He says things like feeling bitter, and he feels like he's not allowed to date,
Hmm.
like he missed his chance or something.
Yeah, I get that.
He even says he's too inexperienced to persuade them otherwise, which is just like, ouch.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of like insecurity and almost shame in those words.
Definitely. And you know, what's interesting is like a lot of the responses he's getting are really supportive.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. But there's also a lot of conflicting advice and even some like uh, more controversial suggestions that have sparked these huge debates in the comments. It's really fascinating.
Huh. Like what kind of suggestions?
Well, okay, so first you have like the classic advice. Like a lot of people are telling him to go to therapy,
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
right? To work on his self-esteem and maybe develop some social skills. Because it sounds like he's carrying around a lot of baggage.
Yeah, for sure. Especially with those phrases we were talking about before, like not allowed to date. It sounds like he feels like he's behind in life or something.
Totally. And you know what else he said? He mentioned that he has lost weight and gotten in shape.
Oh, really? So he's like actively trying to, you know, make changes.
Yeah.
But it seems like maybe he's focusing on the external stuff without actually addressing the internal struggles, like you were saying with the therapy.
Right. Like maybe that's why he's not having any luck dating.
Could be.
So yeah, a lot of the advice he's getting, besides the therapy thing, is to like join groups and pick up hobbies.
Okay, so kind of like find ways to meet people organically, not under that pressure of like going on dates.
Exactly. What do you think about that approach?
Well, I mean, it makes a lot of sense. If you're passionate about something, whether it's volunteering or like playing sports or whatever, it shows like your personality can shine through.
Right,
Right.
exactly. And like you're way more likely to connect with people who share your interests.
Yeah.
And that's a good foundation for any relationship, really, not just romantic ones.
For sure.
Okay, so there's also a ton of emphasis on being authentic. Like people are telling him to just be himself, be genuine, but like, is that really enough?
Well, I think what they're getting at is trying to be someone you're not. It's exhausting.
Right.
And like, it's not sustainable long term. True confidence comes from knowing and accepting yourself.
Right, flaws and all.
Ex-
So one commenter said this, and I thought it was really interesting. They said, don't go there with the intent of finding someone to date. Go to make human connections with men and women.
Hmm.
So like just shift the focus from finding a partner to just building genuine connections.
I love that. That takes the pressure off.
Totally. It lets you relax and be yourself, you know?
Absolutely.
Okay, so are you ready for like the most controversial part of this whole thread?
Oh, yeah, hit me.
So some people are actually suggesting that this guy hire an escort.
Whoa.
Yeah. And
Okay.
not just for like, sexual experience, but for companionship too.
Interesting. So, like, to practice.
Yeah. And to like build confidence, maybe?
Yeah.
I don't know. It sparked this huge debate.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, it's a really controversial topic for sure.
Right. Like some people see it as a valid option, especially for someone who's feeling super overwhelmed by the whole dating scene, you know? Like especially at his age.
Right. And I could see the argument that it might help him build some confidence and get some experience.
Yeah. But then on the other hand, there are a lot of people bringing up, valid concerns about exploitation in the sex
Yeah,
industry.
absolutely. And you have to wonder if it really addresses the underlying emotional needs.
Right. Exactly. And some of the suggestions are like straight up bizarre. Like one person suggested he hire an escort to basically tail him and give him feedback on his interactions with women.
What?
I know, it's crazy. So yeah, it's a really complicated issue with no easy answers.
Definitely. And it's important to approach it with a lot of nuance and sensitivity, I think.
Absolutely. So we've talked about therapy and social groups and authenticity and even like the whole escort thing.
Yeah.
But what about the fact that this guy is in his 40s
Hmm.
and starting from scratch, It seems like he's really hung up on that, like he thinks it's too late for him or something.
Yeah, he seems to think he's missed the boat. But, I mean, that's just not true at all. I mean, tons of people find love and fulfilling relationships later in life. There's no expiration date on that, you know?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And there's actually a woman in the thread who shares her own experience dating a guy in his 40s who had never been in a relationship before.
Oh, wow.
And it turned out great for them.
There you go. It just shows you there's no one right way to do things. Like that whole societal expectation of dating in your 20s, settling down in your 30s, and then by 40 you're supposed to have it all figured out.
Yeah.
It's just not realistic.
It's a good reminder that it's never too late to start.
Absolutely. And honestly, in a lot of ways, people in their 40s bring so much more to the table, like maturity, life experience, self-awareness.
Oh, for sure. Speaking of life experience, this guy mentions that he's 6'6".
Oh, wow. Okay.
And a lot of commenters are like, focusing on that, saying his height should give him an advantage. But, like, come on, is it really that simple?
Right. Like, that's just one data point.
Exactly. It's definitely a factor for some people, but, like, you can't reduce someone's worth to their height or any physical attribute,
Yeah.
really.
Totally.
What matters is shared values, compatibility, that spark, you know?
Exactly. Like, you could be the tallest guy in the room, but if you don't have the emotional intelligence to connect with someone.
It's not going to work.
Exactly. And that kind of brings us back to working on yourself, you know, both physically and emotionally.
Yeah. Some commenters even speculated that maybe this guy's lack of dating experience could be because of, like, social awkwardness, or maybe difficulty connecting with others.
Yeah, that's definitely possible.
Someone even suggested that he might be on the autism spectrum, which actually sparked a whole discussion about neurodiversity in the thread.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and I think it's just a good reminder that not everyone experiences social interaction in the same way.
Right, like there's a spectrum.
Totally.
Yeah.
So instead of, like, judging or labeling someone, it's important to be open-minded and understanding.
For sure. You know, that applies to dating too. It's about finding someone who appreciates you for who you are, quirks and all.
Right. Okay, so getting back to that whole mindset piece, there are a lot of commenters who are like, really urging this guy to challenge those negative thoughts.
Yeah, like I'm undateable, I'm too old.
Exactly. That kind of stuff.
Because those thoughts, they can really become self-fulfilling prophecies, you know?
Oh, absolutely. So how can he shift his mindset? Like from self-doubt to self-confidence?
Well, it starts with awareness. Like, he needs to be able to identify those negative thoughts and then challenge them. Like, are they based on facts?
Right.
Or are they just, like, fear and insecurity?
Right, yeah.
And then once he starts to, like, dismantle those negative beliefs, he can start replacing them with more empowering ones.
So it's like retraining your brain.
Exactly. Things like affirmations, positive self-talk, focusing on his strengths, these can all help.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, like, mindset is important, but you got to take action too.
Right.
Like, a lot of the advice is about putting himself out there.
Right, because you can't just sit at home thinking positive thoughts and expect things to change.
Totally. So, like, we talked about the meetup groups and pursuing hobbies.
Right, those are great.
But then there's also online dating,
Yeah.
which can be a mixed bag, right?
It can be. It can feel overwhelming and impersonal sometimes.
Yeah.
But it also opens up a lot of possibilities.
Yeah, like you could connect with people you might never have met otherwise.
For sure. But it's important to remember that online dating, it's just a tool.
Right.
It's not a magic solution. It takes effort.
And patience.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
There's a lot of talk about creating a compelling profile, being selective with your matches, navigating the whole messaging thing.
Right.
Another suggestion is having a wingman or a wingwoman.
Oh, yeah, that can be really helpful.
Like someone to kind of help you navigate the dating scene, give you moral support.
For sure. A trusted friend who can offer encouragement, honest feedback, maybe even introduce you to some people.
Exactly. And let's be real, dating can be tough,
Oh, yeah.
especially when you're putting yourself out there for the first time.
And there's going to be some rejection along the way.
Oh, absolutely.
But it's important to remember that's normal.
Yeah.
It's part of the process.
Yeah. Lots of people are sharing their own experiences with rejection in the thread, emphasizing that like it's not a reflection of your worth.
Exactly. It just means you haven't found the right match yet.
And sometimes rejection can be a good thing, right?
Well, for sure, it can help you learn and grow.
Totally. One commenter even said something like, embrace rejection as a sign that you're putting yourself out there.
I love that.
It's like reframing it as an opportunity.
Exactly.
Like,
Not a failure. And, you know, it's important to remember this guy, the original poster, He's already achieved a huge victory.
Oh, yeah.
Losing weight and getting in shape,
That's huge.
that takes dedication, perseverance.
For sure.
And those are qualities that are going to serve him well in the dating world, too.
Totally. It shows that he's willing to put in the effort.
Exactly.
And that's attractive.
Absolutely. And speaking of effort, there's a lot of emphasis on continuous self-improvement throughout this thread.
Yeah, like keep working on yourself.
Yes. Physically, emotionally, intellectually. Becoming the best version of yourself.
And not just to attract a partner.
Right. For your own well-being and fulfillment.
You know, it's amazing to me how much support this guy is getting from total strangers on the internet.
I know, right?
Like, it really shows that even though dating can feel super isolating, you're not alone.
It's like having this virtual support group.
Totally.
Yeah.
And it just highlights the power of shared experiences, you know? Like, we all crave connection.
Yeah, for sure.
And just knowing that you're not alone in your struggles can be really empowering.
It really can be.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the wild world of Reddit dating advice for a 40-year-old virgin, what are the biggest takeaways for our listeners?
Ooh, good question.
Like, what can people learn from this guy's experience, even if they're not in his exact situation?
Well, I think the biggest takeaway is that dating, no matter how old you are, it's a journey of self-discovery. Like, it's about figuring out what you want, what you need, and what you're willing to compromise on, you know?
Right.
And, embracing your own unique journey, no matter what society tells you or what other people are doing.
Yeah, it's so easy to get caught up in comparing ourselves to others and feeling like we're not measuring up or whatever.
Totally.
But this thread is such a good reminder that everyone's path is different. There's no right way to do things.
Absolutely. And that goes for mindset, too. It's so important to be kind to yourself.
Yeah.
Challenge those negative thoughts that can totally sabotage your efforts.
Oh, yeah.
Like, whether you're dating in your 20s or your 40s or your 60s, believing in yourself and your worthiness of love is crucial.
For sure. Another big takeaway for me is you got to be proactive. You can't just sit around waiting for love to just, magically appear.
Exactly. You got to put yourself out there.
Right. Take risks. Create opportunities for connection.
Whether that's joining a group, trying online dating, asking a friend to set you up, it's about taking charge.
Totally.
And remember, rejection is part of the process. Don't let it get you down.
One of the things I really loved about this thread was the emphasis on self-improvement, like continuous self-improvement.
Yeah.
It's not about becoming someone you're not, but just always striving to be the best version of yourself.
Yeah, and that's an ongoing journey.
Right. Not a destination.
Exactly. So whether it's working on your physical health or expanding your social circle or learning a new skill, always be open to growth.
Totally. One commenter said something like, if you make yourself a priority and become your best you, love will find you.
Ooh, I like that.
Right. And I think that's a great mantra, whether you're single or in a relationship.
It is. Because self-love is the foundation for all other love.
Right. When you value and respect yourself, you attract people who value and respect you too.
Exactly.
So this whole deep dive has been so fascinating. We've explored the challenges of dating, especially later in life. And it's clear, there's no easy answer. There's no one-size-fits-all approach.
Yep. It's all about finding what works for you.
Right. Honoring your own needs and values and embracing the journey, wherever it may lead.
Wherever it may lead.
So on that note, I want to leave our listeners with a final thought-provoking question that was inspired by the thread. If dating is like an interview, how can you craft a resume that authentically reflects who you are and what you're looking for?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah. Well, what qualities would you highlight? What experiences? What values? What makes you unique? What makes you, you?
Right. And most importantly, what kind of relationship are you hoping to build?
Right. Take some time to really think about those questions. And remember, your story is still being written.
It is.
So if you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure you subscribe to Voices of the Soul wherever you listen to your podcasts. And if you're looking for more thought-provoking content on relationships and personal growth, check out Shauna Palage on YouTube.
Yeah, I won't regret it.
So until next time, keep exploring, keep connecting, and keep believing in the power of love.